Hello and welcome to another segment of Supreme Feminine Essence, The Gifts You Were Born With. I'm Mia Saenz, your host, and with me this segment is Michelle Alva. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you, Mia. I'm grateful to be here.
I'm grateful to have you. Michelle inspires, educates women in not just feminine essence, but actually, I feel, in the overall care of our temple. Am I wrong or am I wrong? I mean, am I wrong or am I right?
You're so right.
So share with us your story on what brought you here today to this place and time where you are a beacon of light to so many. So share with us.
I was fortunate enough to have a lot of trauma early on in my life that made me feel very sad and depressed, low energy, isolated, and everything in my life. I feel like I always felt a connection to God. I was raised Catholic, and I used to write in my diary when I was alone, and my dad moved when I was 12. I had a very traumatizing first sexual experience, and I didn't feel my boundaries. I knew how to respect and honor my body, and I definitely didn't think of my body as a temple when I was 14 years old. I was full of fear, and I didn't know about sexuality. You know, my parents never talked to me about the birds and the bees, and I just allowed my body to be used, and there was a lot of shame and guilt that I held on for many, many, many years of my life, even during my marriage. And I had started to do yoga when I was 18. I started working in a vegetarian restaurant, so I started eating healthy and connecting to my breath and moving my body in ways that I felt were rinsing away the traumas. And for so long, I feel like I left my body. I didn't really spend time sitting with myself. You know, it was painful for me to stop doing things. And I was in school. That was great to keep me out of my body and into my head. And when I graduated, I felt like there was something missing that I didn't learn about, or how to connect with people. And later on in my life, I had this healing experience that caused me to feel myself on a deeper level. And I had memories come up of the past when I was really young, and an event that happened that was very traumatizing to me. My first sexual experience, and that experience when I was 28 years old, 14 years later, caused me to think, wow, we are energy, we hold emotions in our bodies and in our vaginas. And the way that we interact sexually and connect with people on an intimate level physically, if we judge ourselves, if we shame ourselves, if we feel violated and not respecting of our boundaries, there's a lot of guilt and shame and blame that we can create, and insecurity, and we can walk around with that. And I never knew any of these things were happening to me, and here I was, an angry woman, projecting a lot of misery on my poor ex-husband. So I didn't know what I was doing. You know, it was something that, thank God, I've been doing a lot of healing work on myself, and it has made me realize that I'm not alone. I think it's 1 out of every 8 women their space is invaded in a certain way. They're touched not the right. You know, I don't know the exact.
It's a lot more than that. The ratio is a lot higher, and I want you to go on, but I also want you to know that, and I want to say this because people are going, oh, I thought that too. As a self-love teacher, there's not hardly anyone that I've ever met that can actually be alone with themselves, being comfortable and peaceful until they work out their stuff. So.
Yeah, and now I'm in the part in my life where my goal is to simply feel comfortable feeling uncomfortable. And that's something that I say a lot to my clients is, can we just feel right now however we're feeling? Because that is a part of ourselves that we need to come back to and embrace the parts that are ashamed. We shame ourselves. And it's amazing to me how much my religion, even at age 14, how much I put on myself, even at that young age, without knowing how bad it was, how a child's beliefs can hold them down and make them feel that they're the reason why they're wrong, they're bad. So I think I also wanted to find truth and peace, and why was I being so hard on myself? Who taught me this? And I've had to unlearn a lot of those beliefs that really lead me to feel depressed, that don't help me connect to my soul. And I've had to figure a lot of things out for myself. And I don't listen to everything that I learn, believe it or not. Like, because I am a physical therapist, we're taught to question everything. So in a way, that's helped me in my spiritual life, because I was learning a lot of things to do in yoga that actually were not safe. And I would ask a lot of questions, and I've always been kind of this annoying student that I really want to seek the truth. And even with my own self, I realize sometimes I'm so good at covering up my own pain and the things that I haven't wanted to see when a lot of people are getting hurt around me because of things that I'm doing. I have to actually, look more to myself. And so just realizing that a lot of what I have been creating in my past is because of the unhealed wounds, the unhealed parts that I haven't been, for whatever reason I was blocking subconsciously. I think all of these things that have helped me, yoga, belly dance, breathing exercises, awareness exercises, singing, just simply doing meditation, just
I'm so sorry, excuse me.
it's okay. Just sitting with whatever I'm feeling, these different things that I've learned over my life, I see how it's helped me. I'm 40 years old, and I have to say, I feel more alive today than ever in my life. And all I wish is to inspire people at this point and to remind them that I wasn't always this, feeling and vivacious. And I think that's really important for people to know that it's been a long journey. Yeah. And really only in the last 5 years of my life, I really feel I'm starting to taste what I feel as a baby we come into, just being raw and sensual and real and, full of life, and everything is exciting. I feel that is our essence. And some of us along the way have experiences that kind of chip at our soul connection. And all the work that I do now is really about coming back home inside to that beautiful, joyful, sometimes it feels ugly, whatever it feels like place.
Right.
And just really letting ourselves be with all of us, all of who we are. And that's really the work and belly dance is just one way to do that. There's many different ways in the healing approaches that I use, and a lot of it is really intuitive. So just tuning into that person and helping to guide them back home to themselves. I'm just the tour guide. So I love it. I love this work.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I love the way you describe it. It's wonderful. So let's talk about become aware of the feminine qualities, aspects within each of us.
Well, I did a workshop called Embrace Your Divine Feminine Power. And what I did was I had women looking at a list of the feminine qualities in themselves and then the masculine qualities. Because a lot of what we know from our past is masculine-dominated qualities. So the qualities of action, manifestation, the things of being responsible and taking charge are the more masculine qualities. And then focusing. And the feminine qualities are all about receiving, nurturing, softening, healing, tuning in the intuitive side of us, the creative side of us, the sensual side. So this is important, I think, for us to realize that we have two aspects of ourselves, a feminine and a masculine. And to be a whole and balanced individual, ideally we want to nourish both aspects of ourselves. So not one or the other, but both. This way we can also attract a partner that is balanced.
Right.
And then we can really boogie with the love.
I love that you talk about the difference between feminine and masculine, because we truly are both. We absolutely are. And men are too. But I notice as women, because we are caregivers, sometimes we just take control, but we have to release it when we are around a man. Because otherwise I've had guys that I've dated go, can I do that? It's like, okay. And I didn't even realize until later, until I'm in this relationship, that I was very masculine in that sense. But one thing,
I think a lot of women have a hard time receiving,
Yeah.
myself included. I love to give, and in a way that gives us control. Because when we receive, we have to let go of the control and allow ourselves to be nurtured, to be pampered, and we ain't controlling that. And that's the part that I think a lot of women are not aware of that.
right?
And then we wonder why we can't attract a man, that is more balanced. So we can look at our relationships as beautiful mirrors of where
Right.
we're at.
Right, and also what we want to bring to that relationship. My husband has said, talking, when we've been interviewed before and stuff, and I didn't even know it until I heard him talking on air, and I was like, wow. He said that I'm like, one quality that he really loves about me is that I nurture. That's my number one quality. And I thought, that is so beautiful, because he gets it. And we need to have our matching counterparts. They get us. So,
And we need to get ourselves. I mean, I think honestly that's been my life journey, is to really gain a deeper understanding of myself. And I, believe me, my poor ex-husband, I complained so much. I projected so much on him. And, I feel terrible, but I've had to forgive myself because that's the best I knew how to do in the past, But I definitely don't want to recreate that. And now I see that my life can be used as a way of helping women, helping men too, to not, we focus so much on another person. It's a great way to escape having to look at ourselves, but it really doesn't help us to grow. And that's why a lot of the work that I do is really about remembering ourselves, reconnecting to our whole selves. And a lot of that is acknowledging the parts of us that we are not embracing. So we do that through physical practices, and then also with intention, mental practices to shift our subconscious beliefs.
yeah, it's so important. Wonderful. So let's talk a little bit more about getting in touch with your feminine essence and sensual side.
Yeah, well, the sensuality is all about connecting to the five senses. So a person that is very present in the moment and using their senses as a way of bringing themselves back into the moment. For example, when you're having lunch, you can bring out your sensual side by smelling the food, by looking at the different colors of your food, by taking a moment to just breathe and feel yourself as you're preparing yourself for your lunch, to receive your food and tasting the food. And you can close your eyes and really feel the texture and the temperature and the tastes, the different types of tastes that this food is, producing in your mouth, and taking in every sense, every taste, every texture, every touch sensation more fully. That helps us to connect to our sensuality. And it takes our mind off of our stress. So whatever we might be thinking otherwise during our lunch, which might be work or something that we're worried about, when we bring ourselves into the senses, into the present moment, through our senses, it helps to relax us and calm us. And we don't want to be analyzing the food. We just want to be taking it in.
Right.
So that's a way of making sure that we're in the moment. And that's with making love, when we're taking a shower, when we're driving even. We can have a sensual drive where we open the window, or we just let ourselves feel the sun hitting our face. And if you want to turn on some music, you can just really take in the sounds of the music, the vibration of the music. So sensuality is all about feeling. And when we tune more into the five senses, eventually we're so used to being in the moment that we transcend and we go into the sixth sense, which is our higher, deeper understanding and feeling and experiencing of ourselves. And that's where we get to connect our soul, our essence. And that is beyond our five senses. And this is what happens when we meditate. When we sit and meditate, there's that first moment where we're sensing our, wherever we're sitting, we sense body, we sense our breath, and then over time, the body and the mind is in the background, and then we become connected to something that is beyond our body and our mind, whether you want to call it God, spirit, this
Right.
holy aspect of ourselves where we actually get to take a vacation from all our thoughts and
Yes.
all the worries, and our body also can relax and heal and process whatever we need to process throughout the day and for our past. So being a sensual person is really, really healing. And it's really a beautiful way to love ourselves, because when we're feeling ourselves, we're letting the body know, I accept you. And I'm spending time to just feel, to feel you. So I really feel these sensual practices are ways of practicing self-care, self-nurturing. And how beautiful that you can do this also with your partner. So you can give a sensual hug where you're smelling your partner as you're touching your partner. And you can taste your partner. And you can feel yourselves breathing together, even feeling your hearts against each other. And lovemaking, making love is such a beautiful way to experience ourselves, whether we're doing that as our own sacred sensual practice or with our partner. So a lot of times I think people equate sensuality with sexuality, and not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily have to go in that direction, but Lord knows the sex is a lot better when we are sensual.
Right, exactly. I also wanted to bring up something you were saying about when we're focusing on another person, we're not in the receiving place. And what came to me then, and also again while you were talking, was it really fills our thoughts with chaos instead of focusing in on the now, the present moment. Because when we allow our mind to drift off onto whomever, it's clouding up our energy field around us. Do we do it? Of course we do. We're human too. But getting used to the practice of not doing that. When I first started dating after I left my husband and we were divorcing, I think I waited 9 months or something. And then it was like something I'd never experienced before, because I got married at 18. So all these people started coming, these guys started coming into my life, and my energy field was just so overwhelmed, Sometimes we can totally overwhelm ourselves. And people who are very in tune to that, or there was one or two that said, you're like, woo, got all this energy out here instead of focusing in. And that's when I started to realize, I'm giving also my energy and my power away by allowing conversations, things that we don't need to think about, that are just time wasters, more or less,
Right.
So pick and choose what you want to think and feel so that your energy source isn't chaotically exposed. Is that how you'd say it, I think?
Yeah, I think it all comes to self-worth and self-value, and I really love what you said, the body temple, because that really, for me, I feel when we belly dance, we do something called proud walking. And I learned this from my belly dance teacher, that we walk our sacred divine vessel, that your body is the temple of your soul. So for me, it really has changed my life ever since I started perceiving myself as a soul that is inhabiting a body. And that I am something sacred, and that every one of us is sacred. Because we are born, we are a divine creation from a higher power. We have no idea, where we came from, but it definitely is a miracle. We are such a miracle that we are born. And just the whole coordination of all this going on is such a blessing and such a gift. So when we walk like that, we want to take better care of our body temple. So I really feel shifting our perception of how we view ourselves on a very deep level is really key to transforming our lives. Instead of just thinking I'm a body that ages, that has all this hair. When I think of myself, and that's why meditation is so important, to do something that helps us to connect to beyond our mind and body experience, so that we can remind ourselves of that peaceful nature that is always within us.
That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you. And so my next thing was to connect your soul. So that's how you connect to your soul too. Just what you were saying. Perfectly.
Well, we can use our body as a way of connecting to our soul. And in the Hebrew language, the word soul and breath have literally one letter difference. So neshama is soul and neshima is breath. And this is how a major way that in the work that I do is a lot about getting people to breathe consciously and using their diaphragm so that they can stimulate, activate their healing and loving and balancing hormones.
That's wonderful. Breath is so powerful because it also oxygenates every little vessel within us when we do that. And how much more alert and alive are we when we're oxygenated, right? It's extra feeding.
I use it all the time as a conscious tool.
Yes.
It's not just an unconscious,
right.
Of course we're all breathing unconsciously, but I use it to help me to release emotions, to help me release stress. I think today more than ever, we really need to tap in on tools to help us to flush.
Absolutely.
Because we get clogged up a lot.
And we can do this all the time, and we should be throughout the day, several times a day, taking just a few moments. And it only takes a few moments, right, Michelle? It just takes a few moments to do your deep breathing, and then you feel happy and energized and go about whatever. It clears up your head. It clears out your body. It's wonderful.
and I think a lot about the trees outside and nature because they're the ones that make us the oxygen so that we can breathe. So I literally bring nature into me consciously and I thank nature. And that's what I do when I take my deep breaths. If I feel like I'm running late for an appointment or I'm going to be late, letting myself flow my emotions.
Right.
Because I instead of me dwelling and being stuck in fear mode, I have a tool within myself. I have a spa inside of me that I can activate.
Yeah.
So
I love
that
that.
feels very empowering to me.
That is very empowering. That's incredibly empowering. When you can change your thought process, your body, bring in light and beauty, divinity, all that, that's so life-changing, isn't it? And we are.
I think it makes me, I feel younger today. Like I said before, I felt older. I feel like I'm aging younger now. And there's something about chronic stress and aging that I know that it just wears us down. And a lot of it is that we're just not tapping into the tools within ourselves. So a lot of what I do in my work is about activating your inner healer, your inner physician, your inner lover, your inner best friend, so that you can have your own tools within yourself 24/7. You don't have to wait for the yoga class or wait for the massage or wait for the therapist, because more than ever we're being bombarded in our modern life constantly, a lot more than when we were, even just 100 years ago. There's so many more stressors out there, environmental, mental, the food, and I don't feel today, I really feel we need more tools to be able to survive and have vitality and age younger instead of, with all these chronic diseases.
There's no reason why we have to, because our soul is so much more powerful than our human body. And our human body actually is very, very fragile. And so when we do connect to our divine core, we're not supposed to get older. We're supposed to just beautifully grow along. And it's being seen more and more in humans today. Not only are they living longer, but there are so many who look so much younger than their age, And that's something that I think I love to honor and respect and just expect it to happen, because when we put an age on us, that just puts us in a different category, I think in a wrong thought process, instead of in the true beauty of within. Michelle, let's talk about connecting to our whole being, which is our body, mind, emotions, which we need to accept and have unconditional love.
Okay, so you can look at your emotions as your sensors, your soul sensors. Because sometimes we feel certain things, and a lot of it is based on our beliefs. So we have a thought, it causes us to have an emotion, and a lot of times we're thinking thoughts that we don't even realize, being conscious about our thoughts. I think it's important for people to realize what am I feeding every day with my thoughts? And do I really have to have so many thoughts? So this is where the breath is so beautiful to purify us and unite our mind and our body. So I look at the breath as your soul connector. And this is something that I do. I put my hands on my diaphragm, where my rib cage and my abdomen meet, and I do these 3 sniffs. Inhale, inhale, inhale through the nose. And I think of that as mind, body, breath. 1, 2, 3, uniting. It's a very simple practice. Inhale, inhale, inhale. And so you do that 10 times without any thought. It just happens. You do that. And that's a way for you to get your diaphragm to contract inside of you very, very quickly. Full of gut. So a lot of us are breathing with our upper chest. If we worry, we have anxiety, we're holding our emotions. We don't want to expand our belly because that's where our gut is. That's where our feeling is. So this is a really, really powerful exercise, and you could do it while you lay down. And I guide people in this specific breathing exercise in the guided meditation CD that I made called Free Yourself, in the Let Go and Love meditation. But this is a really powerful way for people that feel confused or they're having a hard time. Maybe there's some people that cry a lot or they don't feel. Our emotions are beautiful sensors that give us a connection to our soul, because a lot of times what we're feeling, we don't maybe acknowledge, or we don't want to admit that we're feeling, but at the same time, something is coming up for a reason. And that's really important for us to learn how to move our emotions, that emotional energy, but also how to feel in our body. And our breath is a really key way to unite all these parts and feel in your body how you're sensing through the breath is really powerful. So that's a very helpful
It is very helpful
exercise. Another way to connect to all of you is to dance. And to dance, you can do this just spontaneously, or you can put your favorite music on, not think about it, feel and move. And recently, something that I've been starting is Qigong. I learned how to just literally, one of the practices is to stand, and then you wait for yourself to be guided to move. And it's not you're choreographing, you're not thinking of how to move. The movements just take over you. And that's a wonderful practice to get you to connect to your soul in your body, and then your mind is just a witness of it all. So there's many different things. Mindfulness meditation is a great way to connect your body, your mind, and your spirit. Because when the mind is an observer, is just the witness of whatever's happening, the soul can take over. The soul can be in the forefront. But if I'm analyzing, criticizing, judging, critiquing something, myself or someone, my mind is in the forefront. And my soul's back there saying, have some more compassion. Just forgive them. Don't be so hard on them. We're one. Love is the way. So we have this beautiful soul that has all this wisdom in the back, but then my ego, my comparer, my critiquer is in the forefront, really loud, and getting in the way of me having peace, of myself experiencing connection, of myself experiencing my wholeness. So
I love that. You know, not enough people understand or talk about their soul, and that's so beautiful. Thank you. You have a free gift for us, right?
Yes. I have a link that I sent you that when people go to that link, they can download an e-guide that I created. It's called Top 10 Tips for a Stress-Free Day.
Great.
And if people want to listen to the guided meditations that I created, you can listen to them all for free on my CD, and you just go to store on my website. So as long as you're on my website, you can listen to them for free. And then you have a choice if you want to download them. There's a cost to download it. So I have Let Go and Live, Clear the Fear, Breathe in Love, I'm So Worth It, Awareness. So for people that want to start on the path of embodying themselves some more, or if you have an addiction, or someone that is restless and you don't know how to stay still, you always have to be doing something, that's because there's something pain inside of us that we don't want to feel because we've been traumatized or hurt. And believe me, it could be the smallest pain that we've had that has an impact on us.
Right.
So if you want to live a fuller, richer, more full of complete acceptance type of life where we're not just running away from ourselves, really is what we're doing, definitely go onto my website, and you can also get on my email list and receive my blogs, my blog articles that I write. And I would love it if people want to write into me and just tell me, Michelle, can you write to me about this, or ask me questions. I definitely did not know how disconnected I was from my pelvis until my first belly dance class. And I did a lot of yoga before I did belly dance, and I thought I was so aware, so spiritual, and I perfectly was imperfect in this whole understanding of what my soul really is. And it was not about controlling my body. It was not about me being perfect at a posture. So belly dance for me was a beautiful way of really celebrating myself exactly as I am. And it was scary to jiggle my belly and be showing half of I was very concerned then. So showing my belly in a class with women made me feel uncomfortable. I thought to myself, oh my God, you have body issues, let's heal this. Well, come on.
Yeah.
So I wanted to run away the very first time I took a class.
I'm
but
sure
I went back in there and I said no.
That's incredibly hard to do, even if we, feel good about ourselves clothed, to be unclothed and to do that you're right, it's hard.
But I was really lucky. My teacher, Kathy Moore, in Cambridge, Massachusetts, my belly dance teacher, she said she's sympathetically pregnant. She has a belly, and she loves her belly. And just watching her loving herself was so inspirational to me. And that really taught me how we can talk about things forever, and we can teach with our words.
Knowledge as opposed to our heart, right?
When a person really embraces herself and really works on herself and loves herself and feeds her soul, just being in her presence is enough. And it really taught me so much just to dance with her in her space, in her classes. And I think I'm so grateful that I found her. And this is where I feel really inspired to do more for women, because I don't feel we have a lot of those type of, in the media at least, publicly, a lot of those type of women that are just very comfortable in their skin, loving their body temple, not just fixating on the side.
Well, unfortunately, it seems like we have a lot
of cups, or trying to hide their bodies.
Right. Well, Michelle, thank you so much. We're out of time. Would you like to leave us with one last thought for the audience viewers?
Yes, I would love for every person, when you take your shower tomorrow morning, to love your body in the shower, to bathe yourself as though you are a queen, an empress, or an emperor, and really thank yourselves. Thank yourself so much as you clean your body, and do this practice every single morning. Notice how it changes your day.
I do that because that's part of self-love. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you all in the next segment. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Bye.